Please help me to welcome Punit Renjen.
Dean Hand, that was very kind. Good morning. Congratulations. Does it feel great? All right, I'll keep it short. I know you want your degrees. Thank you for that, Dean Hand. That was very kind. Dean Hand, President Thorsett, Jerry Frank, I've read about you, never met you, so it's great to meet you. Doug Go, congratulations. Trustees, faculty, graduates, parents, and guests, I'm honored to be here to celebrate great achievement with you, and congratulations again. I was in your position 32 years ago. I remember the excitement. It was wonderful, and it's wonderful to feel that same excitement today, especially right now. This has been a tough time for me. In early April, my father passed away. But before he died, I had the chance to tell him and my mother that I'd been selected to speak here and would be receiving an honorary doctorate later today. I was eager to hear his reaction because, as it happens, I once aspired to be a doctor of a different kind. You see, in the small town that I'm from in India, if you wanted to amount to anything, you either became a doctor or an engineer. I didn't enjoy math at the time, so I went down the medical path, only to learn that I didn't like medicine too much either. I changed course much to my parents' chagrin, and everyone worried about me. Truthfully, if you lined up all my friends when I was 18 years old, I would have been the one folks pointed to and said, that boy is going to amount to nothing. So when I told my mom and dad about receiving an honorary doctorate here today, they were quite amused. It nearly took 40 years, but I was finally becoming a doctor. My mother, of course, was quick to remind me that it's not the same. But I know that today she's smiling wide, and I know that my dad would be smiling too. Occasions like this call for reflection and lessons learned. So today, I have 3 that I want to share with you. The first, for me, puts a vital lesson into focus, that life is a marathon. As young people, we are encouraged to set off on this big race to success. In fact, you've heard people say that today. I bet some of you started out sprinting, but not all of us do. And I think people sometimes turn their placement into a kind of identity. I'm someone who leads the pack. I'm someone who trails it. I'm someone who hides out in the middle. But professional life, having lived it for 32 years, is not a 100-meter dash. You have time to change your pace. As I mentioned, no one who knew me when I was young would have thought that I would be the one who'd become CEO of a $45 billion organization. Not a single one. Not when I was 18 and a medical school dropout. Not in 1984 when I arrived in the United States clueless. I'd won a Rotary Foundation scholarship to attend school in America. I knew that it was a chance of a lifetime, but I was also overwhelmed. I'd never been overseas. I'd never been on an airplane. I arrived at the Portland airport late at night. I didn't realize how far away Salem was, so I tracked down the hut to take me there. I remember, and I remember this distinctly, this has stayed with me, that I was awed by the fact that there were lights illuminating the highway, I-5. What an incredible country, I thought, that they can afford to light up the streets. You see, in my hometown, we didn't have streetlights. When school began, it was tough for me to make out my professor's accent. So the first thing I bought in the United States was a tape recorder. I'd listen to those lectures over and over again until I could begin to comprehend. one of my classmates saw my tape recorder and chided me. Brown people never make it in the U.S. I actually ran into him in Portland a couple of years ago while my wife and I were walking to the local Starbucks. My wife's sitting right there. I flagged him down. I said, "Richard." And I did tell him that I was the CEO of Deloitte. But if I let my early experiences shape my identity or persuade me to believe I'm someone who trails the pack, I would not be standing here today. My saving grace was that I never stopped believing in my own future. I had already bought into this idea of the American dream, that I could work hard, that I could learn, that I could change my circumstances, that where I'd been did not have to determine how far I could go. So my first lesson to you is run life like a marathon and don't let others define you. There's only one of you. My second lesson is that passion doesn't inspire hard work inspires passion. Of course, believing that you can change your future is only the first step to actually doing it. I'm guessing you've gotten plenty of advice about how to go about that over the years. And I'm guessing that most of it sounds like this. Follow your passion. That passion will inspire you to work as hard as you have in order to succeed. That's fine advice, but only for those of you lucky enough to know what your passion actually is. I had this one friend in Willamette who knew exactly what she wanted to do the first day she stepped on campus. She wanted to be a doctor. I remember being envious of her certainty, of the fact that she had a calling in life. Her passion was clear, and it drove her to put in the work she needed to achieve it. But that kind of conviction is so much rarer than most of us like to acknowledge. After I graduated from Willamette, I didn't feel any profession calling out to me. At that time, I was not passionate about Deloitte. In fact, I didn't even know it existed. The truth is, I took the Deloitte job because my starting salary was $37,000. It was the highest starting salary I got. In fact, when I got my offer letter, I looked at it a number of times because I thought they had made an error. I thought they wanted to pay me $3,700, and I probably would have taken that as well. I was very grateful for the opportunity, so I put in my best work, and I learned something vitally important. Yes, passion can inspire hard work, but hard work can also inspire passion. I work harder than anyone I knew, and I still do. And when I grew to master what I was doing every day, I taught myself to love my profession. Passion for me came from understanding that I could create an impact, a tangible, attributable impact for the clients that I served and the professionals that I mentored. And that impact was predicated on doing my work well, becoming a master at my profession through practice. Eventually, as my hard work began to inspire passion, the passion made the work feel not quite as hard. So to those of you who have a passion, I'm envious of you. You're lucky. Go set that world on fire. But for those of you like me back then, who haven't found a role you're passionate about, try working at it. I think you might surprise yourself. My third, and maybe my most important lesson, is a reminder of what this is all about. As you're putting in this work, I hope you remember what it's all for. Professional success, financial success, they're the most overt kinds of success, but they will never be the most important. I learned that lesson in 1994, when I made the single best decision I ever made, which also happened to be terrible for my career. Back then, I'd been put on track to become a partner at Deloitte. From the outside, I was thriving. And just to give you an impact, Deloitte is a private enterprise, $45 billion, 10,000 partners. They own the firm. It's a very, very big deal to be a partner. And to be put on track to be a partner is a very big deal. And so I was thriving. I felt like I was thriving. But in quieter, more important ways, I was breaking down. My relationship had ended, I'd put on a bit of weight, and had completely lost sight of that passion I'd come to feel for my work. I decided that I needed a break. But back then, this was 1994, taking a sabbatical was not a thing anyone at Deloitte ever did. People told me I was crazy. They said, you get one chance at becoming a partner and you're passing it up. Who knows if you will ever get that chance again? But I did it anyway. I took a break, got some distance, I played golf, I traveled. I was a bit of a bum, really. One day I was at a restaurant and a woman working there caught my eye, my wife. I asked her out and she said no. With some persistence, she changed her mind. Soon after, 3 weeks later, I was going to visit my parents in India. I asked her if she would meet me in England on my way back. Again, she said no. I bought her a ticket and told her that I'd come to the airport. This was before 9/11, when the plane arrived. If you're there, you're there. I said, if you're not, I understand. I went to the airport, Heathrow. She was the very last person of the British Airways 747 from Seattle. She's never forgiven me that I bought her a coach ticket at the back of the plane. We spent a few weeks together in England. This year we are celebrating our 23rd wedding anniversary. When it comes to professional financial success, we know what we have to do. Put in the work, make sacrifices, take risks. That year, 1994, I decided to apply that to my personal life too. And it's one of the things I'm proudest of. I know that most of us focus first on professional and financial success to the exclusion of everything else. But I think that's the gravest mistake one can make. It's clear to me when I'm looking back on my life, the most important measure of it will be what my loved ones, my parents, my wife, my son think of me. What my son, and he's sitting there, what my son thinks of me when he becomes a man will define me. When you leave here today, the most important thing you leave with is not that fancy piece of paper. It will be the people who supported you in attaining it. As you go build your lives, I hope you keep them at the center. I know you have a lot of celebrating to do with those very people, so I will finish. But before I go, I want to leave you with one last hope. Not only for you, but for the society you're about to go help shape. I think immigrants, people like me, who come to this country with fresh eyes, have a unique ability to see what is so very remarkable about their adopted homeland. They notice things like the street lights overhead and see them for the small miracles they are. They know how very rare it is in a society for success to be achievable by anyone. And they realize that incredible prosperity that creates for everyone. We should all be so lucky to see the world through that lens and recognize every day what a gift it is to live in a society like this. That freedoms we have and the possibilities open to us are rarer than most of us even realize. And I believe that when those freedoms are challenged, not just for us, but for anyone living in this country, it is up to every one of us to step up and defend them. Class of 2019, with this degree, you have achieved greater educational success and set yourselves up for greater professional success than the vast majority of humanity. My deepest hope for you is that you use your power to create communities where that kind of success is open to everyone. That it won't be predicated on whether you come from a certain place or you look or speak a certain way. That in the greatest tradition of this country, success will be available to anyone who reaches for it. You are here today because you were given a gift of a Willamette education. It's been invaluable in my life, and I can't wait to see the lives, careers, and communities you build with it. I'll be keeping tabs. Congratulations to all of you.